Gayle King, Katy Perry, Aisha Bowe, and a few others went to space this week. And people are mad. They're big mad. There's a whole controversy going on. So I wanted to talk about it because I've had some thoughts about it, I had some feelings, opinions. I've tried to keep most of it to myself just because there's other things going on in the world. But I just had to chime in. I want to know what you think. So along this journey of this video, I want you to leave comments as I'm talking. Let me know what you think of what I'm saying. Because this is a discussion between the two of us. So let's go. All right. Gayle King. If you're not familiar with what's going on, I'll just give you a quick 30-second rundown. On Monday of this week in April 2025, Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' space company, rocket company, it took the people I listed into space. So it didn't circle or go around the Earth. So it wasn't like Apollo 11 or anything like that, where it takes days, weeks, months to complete, sometimes years to complete. It was an 11-minute trip, and it went something like more than 60 miles up, basically, if you can think of that, think of what that would look like. So went into space, what is considered space. And then they could see, they were like for 4 minutes or so, they had zero gravity. And then they could see Earth and the blackness of space. And then they came back down and they landed safely, thankfully, and all was good. So the controversy is a couple things. So this is what I'm hearing, and this is, kind of where I'm coming from. So the controversy is that, first of all, it's Jeff Bezos. So people are mad at him because he gave like $40 million to Melania Trump for a documentary that nobody wants to see. Zero people want to see that. A few MAGA people do, but that's just, again, this is my opinion. And so it was sort of like, oh, you're placating Trump, and Trump is doing all this stuff, and it's just not cool. So that's a lot. Another controversy is that the cost to do this is prohibitive for most people. Like, it's for rich people, basically. It's for rich people and people who know rich people. So it costs anywhere. This is what has been kind of researched and documented, although they don't say it out loud. But it costs anywhere from $250,000 to $1.25 million to go into, to be a passenger in this spaceship. And the whole purpose of it is supposed to be to have like commercial flights into space, just like you have flights from LA to New York, or, St. Louis to Atlanta. You would have flights up to space, see it. Another way of thinking about it is like you have helicopter rides, you have hot air balloon rides, and this is now the new frontier. Now, there's also this sort of fight going on between Bezos and Elon Musk, because they're having, like, these rockets literally look like penises. Like, let's be frank. I'm not saying anything that's like, I don't think that's controversial, because I think it's just accurate. If you look at the rockets, it's just, that's the shape, it's aerodynamic, and it is a thing. So it's like, this is a pissing contest, like who can get further faster, who can spend more money, all of that. So there's this big like controversy of the billionaire fight, when on Earth we have food insecurity, housing insecurity, we have wars, we have all kinds of, medical things that could be fixed with that money. So I'm setting that stage because I want you to know that I absolutely understand that, and I agree with it. This is where I start to veer off from what a lot of people have been saying. And I mean, people across the, who run the gamut, people that I respect, people that I adore, people that I get entertainment from, and people that I know. It's like this divide. Like, the half the people I talk to feel one way and the other half feel another way. And so what I'm hearing, like, I posted on Instagram a post that was like a quick post. I posted a short on YouTube. I just said, hey, I know all this stuff is controversial, but can we just give it up to Gayle King for being 70 years old and going into space? Like, can we just do that for a minute and it'd be okay? And I got a lot of pushback from that. And the pushback, and let me just say this too. I don't have a solution or an answer. I want to talk to you about it. So, like I said, put in the comments what you're thinking so far, right? But when I think about the pushback when it comes to what I'm hearing specifically about Gayle King and specifically about Katy Perry and specifically about the mission itself, is one thing is that I'm hearing is like they're not astronauts. They didn't put in all these years of work that these other women put in because it was called a historic all woman crew, right? They didn't put in the work that these other women put in, so therefore they're space jacking, like they're not uh, legitimate astronauts. That's one thing, and then the other thing is why are we wasting this time and this money and the carbon footprint of that what was used to get them into space? Why are we doing that when we have so many other things that this money could have gone to? It was just a publicity stunt, a marketing stunt, etc. So on the side of things where it comes to like when it's about the fact that if they're an astronaut or not, like I said, it's like a hot air balloon ride. It's like a helicopter ride. Although this was not, there was no pilot for this. This was autonomous vehicle, which first, like you're not going to see me in that because I I am a very brave person, but physically, I don't think for me the risk or the maybe discomfort of it would match my energy of wanting, my the incentive of seeing space. But I got to give it to them. Like, okay, maybe they didn't spend the last 30 years of their lives working towards this moment. Maybe they didn't want to always be astronauts. But if you look up the word astronaut in the dictionary, which I might even do on screen here, if you look up the word, let's do it on screen because I was going to show you anyway a couple of things. Let me look up the word. Let's say astronaut definition. If you're listening to this, is what I'm doing. Okay. The definition of an astronaut is a person who is trained to travel in spacecraft. Okay, let's go to the Wikipedia. Well, Wikipedia. That's more of a let's go to Merriam-Webster's definition. An astronaut is a person whose profession is to travel beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Broadly, it is any person who travels beyond the Earth's atmosphere, which is literally what they did. They went to a point past the Earth's atmosphere, and therefore they are one of 1,000 people who has done that in the world of billions and billions. Not just the billions that are living, but the billions who have lived. So I just personally, that's where I'm starting to, where the cracks start for me is that's an astronaut. Because am I an astronaut? No. No, I'm not, because I have not been beyond the Earth's atmosphere. They are an astronaut. Now, the first definition did say a profession, this is your profession, but it also said there's a broader definition. So then on the side of it being, oh, and also we got to give shout out to the people who did so much to get us here. And it's the thing is though, if you think about it, like I saw this list on LinkedIn today where they were listing off these women, and some of them were Black women who spent their lives, dedicated their lives to space travel. They didn't go up in space, these particular people they were discussing, but they were the mechanics or the engineers or the administration, something that made it happen. Why Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all these hundreds of people have been able to go to space. And they were upset in this list that we just spent all this time, in awe of these pop stars, really popular culture stars, right, going into space. And I don't disagree with the fact that we do need to give them their props. We have to give them their flowers, like the people who set the tone and set everything, just like we do every day for all, industries. But I just have to wonder on this side of things. I just have to wonder, like, where is that energy when non-black women are going doing things like this is the 11th, I believe the 11th flight for Blue Origin, and I am not promoting Blue Origin. Like I don't like what's happening at Amazon, to say the least. I don't like what's happening with Bezos and Trump, to say the least. I'm not promoting Blue Origin or SpaceX, believe me. But I think this is the 11th one in 3 years. The first one Bezos went up in. This one, his girlfriend, fiance, I should say, not girlfriend, fiance went up in. And when I saw the guy from Dude Perfect, if you know Dude Perfect, they have like 60 million views. I mean, subscribers on YouTube. They're based out of Dallas. I think it's a really great YouTube channel for kids and their parents. I watch it. One of the guys, one of the 5 or 6 guys, went up and was sponsored to go into space. And I didn't hear us yelling about that. I didn't hear about the last time they went out in Mission 10. And most of these missions have been with white people, and I've seen a couple of black people mixed in. I didn't see all of that. So the whole thing of yeah, so that it's like somehow morally wrong. I definitely understand parts of that, but I don't understand all of it. That's where I'll stop there. On the other side of it being a marketing stunt, well, absolutely, it's a freaking marketing stunt. This is about commercial flights, just like Delta puts commercials out and partners with spokespersons. Yes, this was a publicity stunt. This was a marketing stunt. This was an effort to get you to watch the mission, the flight, so that of the millions of people who watched it, a few dozen would say, "I can afford that, and I'd like to do that," and would fill out the form on the website. I still don't understand why this part is so controversial. Now, this is where it gets tricky for me because this is why I'm recording this video right now. And I'm supposed to be like preparing for work, like the work that I'm doing today, but I just had to, okay? This is why I'm preparing this video. I've heard people that again that I really respect and that I'm like, I would love to have them on here talking about it, right? They're like the money, the outrageous, the audacious dollars that were spent by these rich, evil people. And I'm like, didn't we just like 2.5 months ago all gather around our televisions and our devices and watch the Super Bowl? And wasn't the Super Bowl like the least expensive ticket like $3,000, and the most expensive individual ticket like $150,000? And aren't the suites at the Super Bowl like millions of dollars? And isn't the NFL problematic? And don't they have a race issue? And don't they have a health issue? And why is that okay as a publicity stunt? The Super Bowl is the biggest publicity stunt and marketing stunt in the world every single year. It is never about the two teams playing. Who won the Super Bowl 2 years ago? I'll wait. I'll wait. Who won the Super Bowl this year? I think it was Philadelphia because it was 2 months ago. But in 6 months, I will not know that. And even if I was a sports fan, I still may only know that if I lived in Philadelphia. Because the point of it is the Super Bowl is a big publicity stunt that costs incredible amounts of money. And I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but this is also true. The Super Bowl is the number one in the United States. In the United States, it's the number one sex trafficking event of the year. So I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but if you're yelling about 6 people saying, yes, I want to spend my own money or have my own connections get me into space for 10 minutes, but you're also cool with $10,000, $20,000 tickets a pop and the millions of dollars it costs to advertise at the Super Bowl, But the Super Bowl owners being racist in a lot of cases, and the institution of it being a very exclusive situation. But you're like, oh, that's, it's the Super Bowl. Let's dance at the, you know, I just, why weren't we mad at Kendrick for participating? Why we weren't mad at Kendrick for participating because he was breaking the mold for us. He was representing something to us. He was giving a message for us to a broader audience. So we wouldn't be just preaching to the choir about what certain things are important. And when you think about the Gayle going up at 70, she inspired so many people her age, younger, older. She also inspired people who are facing fears. Because we all knew for months that Gayle didn't want to go up there. She was terrified, but she did ultimately go because she made that final decision that I'm going to go, even though I'm scared. I'm going to do it scared. And if I'm being completely honest with you, which I guess I can by now, if you're still with me, I can be really honest. I didn't think she would go. I thought she would wake up a couple of days before it was supposed to happen and gracefully bow out. And I wouldn't have been mad at her at all. I would have been like, girl, you're the cheerleader for everybody else on this flight, because she was so scared, not because of her age, but because she was so scared. But she did it anyway. She did it terrified. She looked terrified. She did it terrified. And then she is so happy and proud of herself for doing it. Now, I will have to say, I forgot to say this at the top. Leave a comment, first of all. Let me know. Subscribe if you haven't yet. But let me, I forgot to say that I am friends with a family member of Gayle. I should have said that earlier, and I just simply forgot. I'm friends with a family member of Gayle's. I have met her 2 or 3 times, and I have been featured on Oprah Daily, which she is the editor of. So I just want to let you know that I have a bias because I know them personally. Like I know that group personally. I was texting with the family member while it was happening, but they're not going to see this. And this is just how I feel. It just is how I feel. And I'm opening up myself up to all kinds of public backlash and scrutiny, and I already have on Instagram. And this is what I really feel. So if I think about the Super Bowl, if I think about other publicity stunts, I thought about too that I was trying to think, because I like to be fair and balanced. I was thinking, why was I was probably like feeling this way about the Titanic trip that was taken. That, that group of rich people who they were visiting the Titanic ruins and they got stuck down there. And I think the container exploded, unfortunately. And they died. And a lot of people were like, serves them right, because they're rich and stupid. I remember at the time, if I can remember correctly, I remember thinking that is kind of a frivolous thing to do. It's a frivolous thing to spend that kind of money to go down to the Titanic for what? And then on top of that, to do it with a group that was so unsafe and had been multiple times cited for being unsafe. But I didn't want them to die. I never thought that was okay. I never thought it was like, oh, serves them. So like I said multiple times on this video, I understand that inclination. And I also am open to the idea that maybe my opinions will develop over time, because that's emotional intelligence. That's what happens. Like if you get more data or you get more experience or you get more perspective, you may change your mind, or it may just change slightly. I I don't, I mean, I don't, I'm not saying that everybody needs to like think that they're, the best thing since sliced bread. Like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're not even human anymore because you went to space for 10 minutes. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why does it have to be so vitriolic? Why does it have to be so mean spirited? The, the the conversations that I'm hearing, like the words that I'm hearing coming out of people's mouths and people are typing, is really deep. And then if we go, let's go a little bit deeper because I want to, for the people who are still with me, I want to think about, okay, from the perspective of somebody who is doing the work, like is in the fight right now. Let's say you are, working on immigration stuff and people are being deported unfairly and unscrupulously, and you're working on that, or you're working with people who are starving, something like that. Like, I feel like you have your right like you have a little bit more weighted right to me, my opinion, to like be upset about this. Um, the people who are just like in the peanut gallery and they're like, it's like, okay, it's like me when I go to Angel City, when I go to our local LA's pro soccer team for women, Angel City. I'm sitting in, and you might be upset about how much I pay for my seats because it's a lot of money that I pay. If you're upset about this, but I'm sitting in my very comfortable seats and I'm eating popcorn. I'm having popcorn served to me by a server, like a person who is like dedicated to give us food. And I'm yelling at the person who has worked for 18 years to create, this body and this spirit to do things athletically that I can only dream of. And I'm like, you gotta run faster. Why'd you do that? Why'd you kick in that direction? Oh my God, come on. But mostly it's just like celebrating them, to be honest. I'm just always like clapping for them and so happy and proud of them. But it's always funny to me when I'm like, I find myself, I kind of catch myself like, come on, why'd you go in that direction? And I'm like, am I literally eating M&Ms on a couch at the game? And I'm yelling at these young ladies for like making a split decision that I would probably slip if I went on the grass because it's wet. Like I'd be in traction, So it's a little bit like that to me. It's like we are able to have this conversation, but as Gail said, look, let me show you. Let's go back to this. As Gail said, she said, "Have y'all been to space?" She's saying uh have y'all been to space? Like that's gonna be on I would put that on a shirt. Have y'all been to space? Because have you? Like, if you're mad, let me know in the comments why. Give me, and don't just be mean and just yell at me because I look at all my comments, every single one of my comments, and I don't post things that are like really, really evil, right? So don't be like that. But tell me, like, Arlen, this is what you're missing. This is what you're not getting. And I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear your like thought out opinions in the comments would be really awesome. If you agree with me, let me know what you agree with. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, these women, Aisha Bo, I should also say I know her personally. Um, they went up to they went into space like we did not, like you and I did not. They went into space. It was 10 minutes. I don't care. It was 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 3,000 minutes. They went into space. I personally believe that the women who have passed away, who were the women who were responsible for getting us into space as a country and as a world, as a humanity, I truly believe that they would be proud of Gail King, of Aisha Bo, of Katy Perry, of Lauren Sanchez, um, and the other ladies. I truly believe that they would be proud of them. I think if they were here, they wouldn't be on their with their thumbs going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And at that same time, like I said, it's not black and white. I wish it were because then I could just be like I could just go all out and just kind of cuss people out, but it's not black and white. But to call it this sort of vanity only, publicity stunt only, no value event, and that we're mad that it happened, that these individuals decided to do something, and we're yelling at the government for imposing on our freedoms, but we're going to tell them what they should and shouldn't do with their money and time. But it's not just, it's not that, right? There is more value to it. There were some scientific experiments that were done. There were some things that were, I think, more important to me, more importantly, were things like there were a lot of firsts on that flight, a lot of firsts. The first six-woman crew, you could hear that the part of the crew that was speaking was also, they're also women. Um, there, there were people, it was the first, I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but there were the first certain countries being represented in space, certain regions being represented in space, certain, you know, demographics. And I am one of those people who yells at Elon Musk all the time, all day long, because I just can't stand most of what he does. That's my own bias, like my own kind of controversy. And I don't care about him getting to the moon, like I just don't care about him individually getting to the moon. So again, I have that energy and I still can't bring myself to be mad at these women. I can't bring myself to be even to hate on them. I can't bring myself to not be overjoyed by the fact that they got to do it. I'll say it like this. If you had told me that they had spent $200,000 each or $1 million each to go on a roller coaster for the first time and they had never gone on a roller coaster, I would say that's a lot of money, but it's your money and I'm happy for you. That's a lot of money. It's your money. I'm happy for you. I would be remiss if I didn't tie this into something that would be actually helpful to you today, because my whole point of this channel is to help you make more money so that you can do what you want with it. I do think that is a tie-in. So if you want space money, if you want space money, let me say space money in the comments. They'll let me know that you saw this entire video. If you want space money, look at some two more of my videos on my channel, because I have more than 400 videos to date, depending on when you're seeing this, and more than 100,000 people have joined as subscribers in the last few months alone, because I teach so much about how to make money, either make it fast or make it last, right? And I teach about generational wealth. I teach about building a legacy. I teach about stacking money, being able to make money like it's a muscle that you're flexing. If you're not familiar with me, I was homeless 10 years ago. I've gone on to invest in more than 200 companies led by underestimated founders. And I've generated millions and millions of dollars for myself and other people in revenue and income over these years. And my mission is not to go to space. My mission is to, right here on Earth, help you make more money, help you get into a position of freedom so that you can do the things that you were meant to do and be the person you were meant to be. And I would encourage you to check out at least two more of my videos right now so that you can get on that path. And leave a comment. Let me know what's up. If you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to it right now. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel so you can get all of my notifications. Also, last thing, if you're still here, there's about 10 to 15% of the people who watch this video will watch the entire thing. If you're still here, let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about things that are more current, like, daily news type of thing, or if you'd like me to stick to just tell me how to make money. I don't want to hear your opinion about it. I'd like to hear what you have to say, because this channel is for you. So let me know, and let me see what can I say that's really corny to close this out. What's the really corny thing? You let me know in the comments what's something corny. But hey, I know I just said this on Instagram. When's your next launch?